backward.
We have them forward, backward?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I don't know about that intro. That makes me want to go back home. Can't hang with that. How y'all doing? All right, that's what's up. Does anybody here listen to jazz? Good, because I speak in jazz, so it's a little wiggly. And so hopefully y'all will find the notes and the beats wherever that happens. So one of my partners is, his dad was a colonel in World War II. And I don't know if his dad got this quote from somebody or if it's something he originally wrote, but I think it's the bomb, and I want to start off with that. So his name is Colonel Dave Wiseman, and my partner's name is Mike, and he always calls his dad the Colonel. He passed away, he was like 90-something years old, so he had a good run flying planes in World War II. And he said, "The amount of pain and suffering you're willing to endure is in direct proportion to the size of your why. If your why isn't big enough, you'll likely quit." So we're going to start with that, take you through some things, but keep that in mind, and hopefully, I'll pull a Miles Davis and bring it back home, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I'll play with my back turned. So before I play this first little film here, I had this big presentation. And it was to the chairman and CEO of the company. Big company. And we're all in there, and we had this little piece on something. If you guys have, I know many of you guys have presented. So you try and, like you said with the air attack. Where's Bill? Over there. We tried to soften up the chairman, CEO with the air attack, and that was this big national news reporter did a whole piece on a piece of work that we did, on a branded piece of entertainment that we did. And if I said the reporter's name and whatever, just trust me, you would know who this person is. And they did a whole 2-minute piece during the news segment. Didn't ask us, didn't tell us that they were gonna do it, just did it. And we said, oh, we'll play this for the chairman and CEO before we present the actual work, this new campaign that we're going to present. And she's going to love that, and she'll see how, I already said something I wasn't supposed to say, but I was supposed to keep it to person. All right. But anyway, we presented it, and hit play, and you go, da-da-da. And the person slammed the fist almost through the table. And we're sitting up there going, okay, well, this is awesome. Or I effing hate it. The person effing hated it. And the quote was, we are not, there was an elderly woman in the piece who said everybody was so down and, just down in the dumps because it was around 2008, 2009, and everything had crashed. And just, everybody was just bummed out. Factory jobs were leaving and so on and so forth. And so that's what was part of what was in the news piece. And the chairman said, we are not, and she said back to the piece, she said this really lifted the spirits of the community. And the chairman said, we are not here to lift the spirits of the community. We are here to make money. So, it's like, damn. Is that all we're here to do? So that got me onto this, one of the things, got me onto this road of why are we doing this? So, I'll play the first joint here. What did I do, Bill? Just hit, let's see. There we go. This is a rough cut. So you aren't supposed to see this yet, but I thought it'd be appropriate. So check it out.
I would describe or define creativity as acting like your father, as in your heavenly father. He's the ultimate creator, so all you're doing is following in his footsteps as close as you can get. Which is not too close, but hey, you gotta try. I was in an all-black neighborhood from 61 to about 65, something like that. And because of Martin Luther King and the NAACP, and the whole drive was to integrate and to end segregation. So we moved into an all-white neighborhood. You know, we do the hand in Michigan. So there's Upper Peninsula up here, Lower Peninsula, and Muskegon is right about here. From Muskegon Heights to Roosevelt Park, which was a subdivision, I guess, within Norton Shores. And that was lily white. We were the only blacks there for many years. Getting there wasn't easy. We had the KKK threaten the builders of our home. Yes, there was racism in the beginning, but by the time I got to 6th, 7th, 8th grade, all that was done. I'd see it on TV, but it was at a distance. I didn't have that many friends in the younger days, so it was a lot of just cooking stuff up, making stuff up. And so Walt Disney was a huge inspiration on TV, and he'd do his little thing, and Tinkerbell would do her thing. I was reading, Silver Surfer, Thor, all those cats, Bootsy Collins and George Clinton. Because if you ever bought any Parliament Funkadelic albums back in the day, they created all these characters. They created their own world. And you could punch them out of the album and everything. And my cousin Mark, Uncle Henry, my Aunt Dot were on, so to speak, in Muskegon Heights, other side of the tracks. And here I am listening to James Brown, Al Green, and my cousins would bring over the Jackson 5. So I had that culture that never left. But then with my white friends, I'm listening to Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Bread, or something like that. It's all that soup that I threw in there. And then my mom was a teacher. She's a school teacher. And Dad was always starting some new business because he hated working at the factory. And then, of course, there's Bewitched. Mom and Dad were pressing me on what am I going to do, and I kept telling them I'm going to play basketball, I'm going to play in the NBA. And that's great. They never told me I couldn't do anything. They said, you absolutely can do that, but have a plan B just in case. And they wouldn't let it go, so Darren had a beautiful wife, a big house. He didn't look like he worked that hard, and he'd run downstairs and say something to the client, and then they would buy it. And I said, okay, I'll do that. I'll do advertising. And that'll be cool. The other thing I always knew I could write, that if it had to come to that I could create with the best of them. So anyway, all of those things mixed together, and when the basketball thing didn't work out at Michigan State, I said, well, we're gonna do a little advertising. Maxine Pietro wrote this book called How to Put Your Book Together and Get a Job in Advertising. I read her book cover to cover, backwards and forwards, upside down, and followed all of the instructions. And the thing was, she said, try and get into the big agencies. This agency in Warren, Michigan, saw my portfolio and loved it. And the internal headhunter called me up. Listen, Jimmy, we got a job opening. I saw your work. I think it's great. I think you're the right person for here. And then there's no internet. So they don't know what I look like. I don't know what they look like. All you're hearing is what's on the phone. And my mom being a teacher, so I did what black kids call, I spoke proper. She said I would miss the job opportunity, most likely, if I didn't come tomorrow. I'll be there. What time do you need me? And she said 9 a.m. So me and Smoke, my wife, she drove, I got a little sleep, and we got there, and so she's going through my portfolio. Now things are starting to wrap up. You can tell that, this interview is ending. I guess I better say something. Hey, when am I meeting the creative director? And she said, oh no, you aren't meeting the creative director. I just wanted to meet you. Because I'm realizing now what's going down. I said, you could have met me next week. You said I needed to come today because the creative director was leaving town on vacation and there was a job opening. You were concerned that I would miss out on the opportunity. Oh, no, there's no job opening. I just wanted to, what can you do at that point? So that's when I said, uh-oh, this ain't gonna be like what I thought. The next part of the education was who are the Stan Lees, Bootsy Collins, George Clintons, Walt Disney's of advertising. And then my first guy I discovered was Bill Bernbach and David Ogilvy. So I'm reading their books, checking out their advertising that they did back in the day. And I remember sitting up there, Cartoon Saturdays, I like to teach the world, whenever that would pop up. And just combing through all the various award books. I sent my stuff off to some Asian cat, Lee Clow, Shy at Day. I'm from Muskegon, Michigan, Northern Shores, so I don't know much. And again, there's no internet, so I don't know what he looks like. And I'm on the phone with him, and he's ripping my portfolio apart. He took the time to break it down, what was up with it, and all this kind of stuff. So I said, I'm gonna show him that I can do this and whatever, and he's gonna wanna hire me someday. And then you're seeing all this stuff. 1984, well, who did 1984? We shall prevail. Shy Day. And then the Nike campaign. Fuck, these dudes is Shy at Day. And then finally, in Ad Week, Ad Age, whichever one it was, you see Lee there and you go, oh, that's a white dude. Okay, he's gonna hire me someday. So then I get my first big break at Burrell Advertising. Alma Hopkins looked at my stuff, she dug it, she shows Tom. Here's some folks who look like me and have the same aesthetic. Lewis Williams, who was my mentor at Burrell, and he'd always say, if you don't remember anything else I tell you, just remember, it's not rocket science. So I was at Burrell for like a year. Then when I went to Footcon, it was Al Hawkins who hooked me up with a gig. That's the first time I'm working for a black creative director in a general market environment, and how he navigated all of that stuff and the things I learned from that. And then a few years later, here I am at Muse Cordero Chin. Muse is black, Joe Muse. Mavis Cordero, Mexican, and David Chen, Chinese. So it was the first multicultural ad agency where I can just be who I am. If it comes from black roots, cool. If it comes from white roots, cool. And knowing my background, I'm gonna put it all together and mix and match anyway.
Smoking-related diseases cause over 50% of all deaths among blacks. Don't burn your own cross. Quit smoking.
There was everybody under the sun in this little agency. But the thing was, they had a sliver of Nike. Scott Bedbury was huge in that whole process. He understood the need to have somebody from the culture working on his brand. So he puts us together. So I'm working with Joe Muse, and there's Dan Wieden and his team over there. So we presented, and Dan flipped out of it. He loved it. I mean, he just kept going on. And Joe's looking this way, talking to some folks, and Dan's looking at me, saying, I'm gonna call you. You're gonna hire me. I'm gonna call you. Cool. So I'm calling for like 2 straight weeks. I'm like, what the fuck? Mary Norman's, he's not in, Jimmy. He's not available. Jimmy is going. So after 2 weeks, I wrote a 5-page letter. And I did everything but curse him out. So I overnighted it to him, and he called me the day that he got it. So I'm thinking, my mom was freaking out. I don't remember that. She's, oh, Lord. She didn't want me to send it. She's going, I said, well, he hasn't hired me. It's not gonna hurt. He hasn't hired me. So what's What difference does it make? He needs to know how I feel about this. So when he called, he said, we're going to hire you. He said he never received a letter like that before, and you can write. That was a relief, like, I really can do this. That's my dream agency, Wieden and Kennedy. That's my dream account, Nike. Now I gotta go, like, execute. I was scared shitless. Dan brought on John Jay, who I call Dr. J. So Dr. J and I did this print campaign for NYC City Attack. Book publisher calls and goes, hey, we saw those print ads. You guys should do a coffee table book. John Hewitt was the photographer. And I got my brother, who was a Broadway poet. He rounded up the poets. He and the poets wrote basketball, poetry. I wrote about the legends in the book, the Pee Wee Kirklands, the Joe the Destroyer Hammonds, Jumpin' Jackie Jackson, so nice they had to name them twice. And the book, we named it Soul of the Game, and the thing sold out. It's in the Basketball Hall of Fame, it's in museums, and it's an ad. That was what I was kind of in the back of my mind. Nobody's gonna buy a book of ads. Yes, they will, if done well. Fast forward, Will Moselle, he was a producer, executive producer over at EA Sports. He says, Jimmy, we're putting together this new video game, we want your help on it. And I'm like, oh, you want me to do the ads? He's like, no, we want what you do in those commercials and in those print ads, and we want you to infuse the actual game. We want you to name the characters, create the storyline. We want you to help us create it. Next thing you know, I'm making video games. All that stuff, whether it's Nike Battlegrounds. It was the highest rated show in the history of MTV2. And so all of these things, whether it was the book, whether it's the video game, whether it's the TV show, I'm going, hey, you know, anything can be an ad. It doesn't have to be, nor should it only be, a 30-second spot. I was working with another one of the guys I used to look up to all the time, and that's David Lubars. So David allows me to do my branded entertainment thing for BBDO New York.
Oh, and another one.
You gotta be kidding. Biggie, no!
And so we did like Instant Death with the Black Eyed Peas. So it's like 2008, and David goes, hey there, it just kind of popped up out of the blue that Chiat wants you to go over there and work on Gatorade. And obviously I know Lee is there, and I'm like, holy smokes, that'll be dope. When I tell him I thought he was Asian, he cracks up, you know, anytime he hears that story. But we set the world on fire with G.
What's G? It's the emblem of a warrior. It's the swag of an athlete, a champion and a dynasty. It's gifted, golden, genuine, and glorious. It is a lowercase God. It's the GOAT, ha ha. The greatest of all time. What's G? It is the heart, hustle, and soul of the game. That's G.
But Lee didn't think that they were ready for G yet. He was like, that may be a little too much for them. Maybe, you know, to come out the gate, maybe we should wait, you know, give them 6 months or something and then spring that on them. But my experience on that one was that you need to get everything you can in the beginning.
If you want revolution, the old solution evolved. There once was a girl.
We sold G. We sold Gatorade Replay.
Welcome to the 87th meeting between the State Liners of Phillipsburg and the Red Rovers of Easton.
A 27-yard field goal attempt. It's blocked. The whistle has blown. This one is over. A sister kisser.
Time might be worse than a loss. We think we have a score to settle.
Gatorade has chosen to team up with the towns of Phillipsburg, New Jersey, and Easton.
We're inviting the guys from the 93 team to strap on the helmet and the shoulder pads and replay that game to determine the true champion once and for all.
We sold the Sports and Entertainment Network, not just Gatorade Replay, but a whole bunch of shows are going to be on there. By selling the entertainment platform, you got to put content on it, right? You can't just have a platform and not have any content. And then once it got done, the thing blew up. But anyway, that's what started Amusement Park. That planted the seed for Amusement Park Entertainment. I have to start my own thing where you can start from the ground up without all these crazy contracts where everything that you produce or everything that you show a client they own, because it's built on buying and selling media. Most of the agencies, not all of them, but most of them are not built on I'm selling an idea. What we're doing now is controlling that by creating our own products. One of my favorites would have to be Heaven Sent.
Tonight you're about to witness a once-in-a-lifetime, very special live event. Stride Gum presents Heaven Sent. World-renowned skydiver will jump from 25,000 feet without a parachute.
It took everything that I learned from when I started in the business, before I even started in the business. Like, if you can think it, you can do it. I mean, a man jumped out of a plane with nothing, landed safely.
He's in!
That's straight out of When You Wish Upon a Star, some Walt Disney stuff, right? It was a TV show. It was a pay-per-view event. So we're doing all types of shit like that. That's just tip of the iceberg. And we did the thing with JBL on Martin Luther King Day, and JBL was like, we got Damian Lillard, wondering, you guys could come up with some ideas of what we can do with him. And we were like, well, you make headphones, he creates music, let's do something along those lines.
I see the world from a lens of my own perspective and see the anger driven by color in the recession. Sad to see the reality of our regression. Cops killing, drugs selling in a state of a depression. When I get pulled over, should I be afraid? Cause lately the bad's getting away. If my attitude bad cause of the day, would it threaten them enough where I maybe could catch a stray? But it's a two-way street, you probably hate to hear. It kinda seem like they striking cause it be out of fear. Aggressive kids getting bullets, then they be out of here. We mourning lately, gonna be some time before we out of tears. No need to separate, remember that these times cooler. We ain't dealing with segregation for all the schoolers. Throwing dirt on the work of Malcolm and Martin Luther. We stand together, let's make it different than what we used to.
I'm happy for the difficulties back in the day, because you had to go through those journeys to get to a place where you got a little wisdom there. Very few people know my wife's real name. I call her Smoke, family calls her Smoke. When I first met her at Michigan State, and after some women introduced us, when she walked up, they said, so what do you think? And I said, she's smoking. Smoke inspires me because I know she loves me for me. Never asked what I was gonna do. I could have been a garbage man or whatever. She was and is the perfect wife for this business, because I told her, we're gonna move around a lot now because you gotta build your career, you gotta hop around a little bit in the beginning and whatever and whatnot. Okay, as long as I'm with you. I mean, you aren't going without me, are you? And I said, nope. And the other way she compliments, she's a numbers person. But she's creating now, so that's pretty dope. So my sons are creators. They direct, they write, they produce, they edit, do apps. They were supposed to try out for the Lakers, but they burned out on basketball and they wanted to come and work at Amusement Park. That's pretty cool. Smoke says I'm always working. I don't look at it as work. I mean, your creative brain can take anything and turn it into something cool or emotional or funny or whatever. It's just, it's hard to turn that shit off. And I guess when you turn it off, it's time to go home.
Hallelujah! They call me Casper, not the friendly ghost, but the Holy Ghost. Hey, and I'm here.
So, whereas talked about the why, right? What's up, Mike? So, I'm broke. I had to sell my home. I had to sell my cars. I could go anywhere with that reel, that work that you've seen, and go make $2.5, $5 million a year, whatever the deal is. That's not my why. I don't want to sit up there in front of somebody and say we are not here to uplift the spirits of the community. We are here to make money. They ain't gonna get it done for me. It's not gonna do us any good to go before the Father and he say, what did you do? Well, I made a lot of money for these big corporate American companies, right? Did that? That'd probably be the wrong answer. So, I was trying to do good inside of corporate America. It's difficult. So I'm going to examine some of this work that was done inside of corporate America, and let's see what you guys' why is. So, first one here. I don't want to stand in front of you there. This is called Like Father, Like Son, done for Nike. It was done at the time. Sorry, I can't read it unless I stand right here. My dad's a gangster. My dad's a father. My dad runs around. My dad runs 4 miles a day. My dad says women are only good for one thing. My dad says black women are living jewels. My dad sent me money. My dad sent for me. My dad says schools for fools. My dad says knowledge is power. Like father, like son, scold him, mold him, love him, don't let him quit. If he's third string, go to his games anyway. If he can't hit a curveball, don't sweat him. If he's not doing well in school, give him help. If he can recite a rap word for word, he can memorize a history lesson, date for date. Be there for him, and he'll be there for his brother. Just do it. So, they ran that, and they got a whole bunch of flack for that. I'm thinking, well, you know, this happened to be for the black consumer market. It was in Ebony magazine, stuff like that. But you take out the black part and just say, my dad says women are living Jews. That can apply to Asians, Hispanics, whites, anybody. So I'm thinking that's a good father message. So all of us dads, right, would agree with that, right? Can I see a hand? Can I get an amen or something? All right, cool. So this runs, we're getting, LA Times wrote a big article about it. There goes mom again. Oh, Lord, they hate that. There we go, we'll be all right. But it got slammed. Now, if you talk to folks on the street, they loved it. It wasn't from a media perspective, just real people, real parents loved it. This one right here is an anti-smoking ad. You saw a little bit of that. I'll tell you what happened when this aired. Uh-oh, help me out. Help me out. Here we go.
Smoking-related diseases cause over 50% of all deaths among blacks. Don't burn your own cross. Quit smoking.
What we got for doing good on that one was death threats. Death threats to tell folks, quit smoking. This one, to give you a little background on this, I'm talking to LeBron. This is young LeBron. LeBron's about 17, 18, something like that. And I'm pressing him. Anytime you're working with an athlete, celebrity and you're doing something on them to market something, you want to get an insight. And they say, hey, LeBron, how'd you get so good? And you say, I don't know. You know, he's just a kid, he's a teenager. I don't know. I said, well, dude, do you have a mentor or anybody? It's like, come on, Brian, something happened. He said, finally he got frustrated with me and he goes, Jimmy, God just blessed me. He just blessed me. And I said, oh, well, there you go.
Let us read from the playbook, the King James playbook, and basketball chosen one asked the soul of the game for court vision. And it was granted to him. Can I get a layup? Layup! The chosen one didn't ask for hops.
Coach Reverend, right?
He didn't ask for hand. Why did the chosen one ask for court vision? I'm gonna tell you why. Just listen. He wanted glory for the team. I feel the soul of the game coming over me.
The point of that is they ask these athletes anytime they do anything in world of marketing, in the locker room, they're going to sit up there and ask them a bunch of questions. Why'd you do that ad? What was the point of that? What was the message? Well, most of you guys probably don't know LeBron's a Christian. So when he's in the locker room, and they're asking the questions like, hey, God bless me. How big of a deal is that for kids to hear that their hero worships God? You think that's a good thing, but no. So we went to my pastor in Portland, Oregon, ran it by him, ran the script by him, said, is this cool? You know, we good with this? And he said, oh yeah, you get LeBron James talking about God? Oh, anything you can do with that? That'd be awesome, Jimmy, do that. So we're good. We got calls from pastors, you can't do that. That's not the right thing to do. And unfortunately, probably some of those very same kids that live in your neighborhood will probably listen to LeBron more so than they listen to you. But maybe he can slide them on over there by the simple fact of what he believes. Tough to get those types of concepts across sometimes.
Beauty liberation. Freedom from narrow standards set by an industry that perpetuates distorted views. Full embrace of one's individual beauty.
Hi, I'm here for...
Welcome to Trending. You must be our 2 o'clock. Look at this face. I used to look just like you, but not anymore. You can be beautiful too. Sign in and follow me.
Soul. My hair, my skin is all I've ever known. Why would they say no? Am I too dark? Am I light enough? Is it too short? Is it long enough? People talk a lot, but I've had enough. Ain't got time for that. Told them listen up. I am beautiful. I'm standing tall. We are beautiful, let's all start a beauty liberation. A beauty liberation. A beauty liberation. A beauty liberation. Tell them they can keep the pictures and the poses. Love who you are, eyes, lips, and your noses. Hold on to your heart, staying strong, never broken. Wanna close your mind, but you gotta keep it open. They gon' tell you dress like this, talk like that. You act white, You act black, what's that supposed to even mean? How can we forget about the colors in between? How we live in life based on these shows, how we wear our hair, where we buy our clothes. How about you define you, I'll define me. No one is the same, that's reality, yeah. Never let them hold you down, no matter if you black, white, red, yellow, brown. Just know that you're beautiful, so let them know it's time to start a beauty liberation, yeah. A beauty liberation, beauty liberation, beauty liberation. Turn off the fantasy, turn on reality, turn off the lies, open your eyes, see what you're meant to be. Don't be your enemy, you are your remedy. Love who you are, love what you see, no insecurities. You're perfectly imperfect, you're precious, yeah, you're worth it. One of a kind, don't need no disguise, no need to go searching. Cause you are beautiful, and we are beautiful. So let's show the world who we can be with a beauty liberation. A beauty liberation. It's a beauty liberation. A beauty liberation.
Hey, babe.
Hey, baby, now hold on. Wait right there, okay? Zoe, show mommy what you did today.
Surprise! Thank you, sweetheart. Look at you. You look beautiful, honey. So what made you dress like this, huh?
'Cause I want to look like you, Mommy.
Oh, thank you so much. You know you're beautiful too, right? So gorgeous.
So, no, the 6'4" black average dress did not come up with that. My wife did, Smoke. And how many of you guys have seen that? Nobody here has seen that before? That's because it didn't run. Client wouldn't run it. Beauty brand, trying to get them to discuss beauty, but it was all about some other stuff. So, these are the things, as you guys, continue on your journey to do good, it's like, how bad do you want to do good? How bad do you want it? If it's all about just making some money, you can do that. But if it's more about doing what God put you here to do, no, he didn't say it was going to be easy. It'll be a battle because you have an adversary. Last thing I'll show you, and you've already seen some of it.
Another tense night in Ferguson, Missouri, with police in riot gear firing stun grenades and tear gas in a chaotic scene. Dozens of people were arrested overnight, some 31 arrests. The curfew was lifted, replaced by new rules prohibiting protesters from congregating, as protesters demand justice for the unarmed teenager fatally shot by police 10 days ago. National Guard troops also patrolling the streets.
Look for God when you're trying to defy the odds. Need to look up to the sky and let go of all the pride. The game changing, we're trying to make arrangements and let go of that anger. Put that food into our brain instead, aiming steady at the youth. We trying to change culture. New leaders, we ain't coming from that same holster. Been in that heat of the moment, we from that same toaster. Emotions rolling, just know I've been on that same coaster. That fame heavyweight to carry up the heaven's gates. Know that heat rise, the devil gotta levitate. We elevate, son, no hesitate. Son, we was born to lose, but we gon' get it done.
I see sounds in my mind. I hear colors as I go. We all walk side by side even if we're on a different road. I know, 'cause this is something bigger than love. This is something bigger than love. This is something bigger than love. Yeah, yeah. Even if we're on a different road, I know this is something bigger than love.
I see the world from a lens of my own perspective and see the anger driven by color in the recession. Sad to see the reality of our regression. Cops killing, drugs selling in a state of a depression. When I get pulled over, should I be afraid? 'Cause lately the bad's getting away. If my attitude bad 'cause of the day, would it threaten them enough where I maybe could catch a stray? But it's a two-way street, you probably hate to hear. It kinda seem like they striking 'cause it be out of fear. Aggressive kids getting bullets, then they be out of here. We mourning lately, gon' be some time before we out of tears. No need to separate, remember that these times cooler. We ain't dealing with segregation for all the schoolers. Throwing dirt on the work of Malcolm and Martin Luther. We stand together, let's make it different than what we used to.
I see sounds in my mind. I hear colors as I go. We all walk side by side, even if we're on a different road. I know, 'cause this is something bigger than love. This is something bigger than love. This is something bigger than love. Yeah, yeah. Even if we're on a different road, I know this is something bigger than love. We compliment one another, just like the colors of the rainbow. We'll paint the world with our colors, and everyone will know.
God created us equal, so let's embrace it. In life, you run into evil, you gotta face it. Let's win the race instead of everybody thinking racist. Bad habits we inflated, look what we created. We need change, better attitudes to open up lanes, better avenues. Need to rise up, but we headed latitude. Let's try to think about the kids bred after you. Every day I wake up and see the breaking news about the hate crimes. Media gon' make you choose which side you gon' support so they get rates and views. Now people shooting up reporters 'cause they hate the crews. We the people gotta love one another. Let it be known with nothing undercover. Let's take control of the future instead of letting it hover. Everybody to the table. Make sure you bring us something.
I see sounds in my mind. I hear colors as I go. We all walk side by side, even if we're on a different road. I know this is something bigger than love. This is something bigger than love. This is something bigger than love. Yeah, yeah. Even if we're on a different road, I know this is something bigger than love. We compliment one another, like the colors of the rainbow. This is something bigger than love. We'll paint the world with our colors. This is something bigger than love.
That one actually did run. Thank you. And we all have to eat. Oh, I should hold this, right? We all have to eat, pay our bills, feed family, and so on and so forth. So don't get it into your mind that I'm saying doing good does not make money as well. This increased sales by 45%. The speakers were on sale around the time that this ran because it was just after Christmas. They had to put them back to regular price because they were blowing off the shelves. So, and when I said I am broke, I am, but it's all right. We're working on some more doing good. Whether that bears fruit or not, we'll see. We'll see what's happening. But we're working on an energy product that'll make y'all happy, make the oil companies happy. And when I say y'all happy, you'll be able to breathe clean air. You won't be poisoning the ground. And we can drive our big trucks if we want to and not worry about whether you believe in global warming or don't. Or if you believe in pollution or don't. Well, you should believe in pollution. If you put junk in the ground, it's probably going to, we defile the ground. The point is, we can actually clean it. So we're working with some scientists on that, and we'll see if somebody wants to do more good. So that's it.